I never thought my pregnancy journey would be so tumultuous, especially when it involved my sister-in-law, Connie. When I first announced my pregnancy, I was thrilled. But in the months leading up to my baby shower, Connie's jealousy and impulsive nature began to surface. She had been trying to conceive for a while, undergoing IVF treatments, but every time we were together, I could feel the tension in the air. The day of my baby shower arrived, and I was excited to celebrate with family and friends. Everything was going smoothly until Connie decided to pull a prank that spiraled out of control. In a misguided attempt to be funny, she locked me in a closet while everyone laughed. When I finally emerged, I was horrified and humiliated. It felt like a cruel betrayal. My husband's family was understandably upset. His mother, Pam, stepped in to handle the situation. She told Connie to stay quiet, asserting that her actions had consequences. The real shock came when she backed me up, declaring that she couldn't look at Connie the same way after what had happened. Pam announced that she was cutting Connie out of her life for the time being, which also meant they would no longer support Connie's IVF treatments. Connie and her husband erupted, screaming that they couldn't do this, especially since they were relying on Pam's family for help. For context, while my in-laws were financially stable, Connie's parents were not. They had been their only hope for the IVF costs, and Connie's husband had just launched a new business, struggling to break even. The desperation in their voices was palpable, but Pam stood firm, saying that given Connie's unstable state of mind, she believed it was best not to pursue motherhood right now. Watching Connie collapse onto the floor in tears was hard. She sobbed for what felt like an eternity. When she finally got up, she surprised us all by coming directly to me, begging for forgiveness. She fell to her knees, genuinely pleading for me to convince Pam to reconsider. I felt a surge of sympathy but knew I couldn't change Pam's mind. Connie's hysterics were unsettling, and I felt conflicted about the entire situation. Eventually, her husband took her home, and the rest of us sat in stunned silence, processing what had just occurred. My husband and I didn't discuss the incident much afterward, but I felt uneasy. Yes, Connie had wronged me, but I had played a part in forcing the family's hand against her. Was I the jerk for doing that? A few days later, I shared my feelings with my husband, who reassured me. He reminded me that Connie had always been a hothead, and her vindictive behavior had not gone unnoticed. After the incident, I felt a sense of relief knowing that most people agreed with my stance. Connie's actions were inexcusable, and her behavior during the baby shower was downright cruel. As the days passed, I focused on my pregnancy, determined to let go of the negativity surrounding Connie. 8 days after my baby's shower, we hosted a formal dinner for family and friends to make up for the earlier mishap. Connie and her husband weren't invited, and I decided to open the gifts during the dinner, hoping to create a joyful atmosphere. Midway through the event, Connie chose that moment to stir the pot by posting on social media. She accused me of being competitive and claimed I had forced her family to cut her off, ensuring she wouldn't get the IVF support she desperately needed. Her post was absurd and, to my surprise, sparked laughter among my friends and family. We dismissed it as a desperate attempt for attention and sympathy, one that fell flat. A few weeks later, I welcomed a beautiful baby girl into the world. My husband and I were overjoyed, basking in the love and joy she brought us. But Connie's life was crumbling. Word spread that she and her husband were separating due to irreconcilable differences. They had been living apart for weeks, and the stress from our family's fallout had taken its toll on their marriage. While it saddened me to hear, it didn't come as a surprise. Connie's parents had continued to distance themselves, stating they wouldn't reconnect until she sincerely apologized to the family. I felt fortunate to have such supportive in-laws, especially considering how Connie had treated those around her. As I focused on my new life as a mother, I couldn't help but reflect on the choices we make and their consequences. Connie had created her own reality, and while I felt some pity for her, I knew it was her actions that led to her current situation. My priority now was to raise my daughter in a loving environment, filled with positivity and support.